Okay, Ed Eyestone. So Conner Mantz just finished fourth. Big
Yes.
PB,
Yes,
204.
big PB.
Sorry, 205.08. He said it was a little bittersweet just to miss the podium, just to miss
Right.
Ryan Hull's time.
Well,
How do you feel about it?
Well, I told him after, I said, the fact that you were within 4 seconds of second place, you cannot, this is much more sweet than it is bitter. Let's celebrate this because essentially you control the controllable and you got outkicked by a couple of guys at the end and you're tired. and you were doing a lot of the work out there. So you got to come away from this feeling very positive about where he ended up. And this will keep you hungry too, you know. And sometimes there is some motivation behind getting, outkicked because you go, okay, I'm gonna work harder. He probably doesn't need that motivation because he's already working pretty hard as it is. But super pleased with just his, not only does he show he belongs, but he belongs in a big way because he was the guy that was kind of making that race especially after John broke away.
Yeah.
He's not content. He was not going to be content to even settle for second place. He could have tucked in at that point in time and just said, okay, we got to beat these guys. But instead he's like, no, let's go after him. And then Clayton, really solid day for him. His calf cramped at about 20 miles. When that happens, sometimes you're DNF with that far to go. So the fact that he rallied back and kept it together, and then his old college teammate came up on him, Rory, and the two of them kind of went back and forth. I think that helped. So 3 BYU guys in the top 7 in Boston, all running major PRs, I think is a very good day.
Yeah. What was the game plan for Conner coming in?
Game plan was I wanted him I come up with these kind of hokey mnemonic devices sometimes, but it was kind of like C4. C4 is an explosive, but I had 4 C's for him to do. I wanted him to coast the first 6 miles, down the hill. Put it in neutral and not push, but let's coast. And coasting means you're going to feel really comfortable, and the pace might go faster than what we think we're capable of running, but make sure you're not really pushing. So as I saw him run the first few miles, I was going, you're pedaling and not totally coasting here. So I was a little concerned, but there was enough mass in there where it probably would have happened without him rolling out. So I think other than I would have liked to have seen him be a little bit, let somebody else push and then match that pace rather than being out there. But again, sometimes it's not bad to be in the lead, and instead of going through in 4:37 or whatever, because with you in the lead, maybe without you in the lead, maybe somebody takes it 4:20. But they got through those early miles, and then the second C was just to cover any moves, because we felt like the moves were going to come somewhere between 6 and 15, that any early moves take place, respond to those moves, be in a position so that when you hit the hills you can cruise. That was the third C. Be prepared to really move on the hills, because typically that's where the major moves take place. And then just cover the last 5 miles. Once you get to the top of Heartbreak, 5 miles to go, you got to have some legs underneath you, because it's always really dramatic. I mean, sometimes you see wild swings of guys who are out of the top 10 who can move well. The last 5 miles can move into a 4 or 5 position. So just have some legs underneath you at the top of Heartbreak so that you can run well. He had legs underneath him. He ran well. He was trying to, he had that chase pack that he was kind of leading, and then he just got outkicked at the end. But super pleased with his performance.
How stressful was those 2 final miles when he's trying to drop those guys, and where are you watching that from?
I was actually out on the course at 10K and 14 miles, so obviously he was very much in the pack at that point, or leading. And then we booked it back to the hotel. We watched as things were going. The coverage that we were watching wasn't totally on them. We knew that John had pulled away. We knew that he was, for a while, in a pack of 4 and kind of being the leader of that pack, trying to move. I figured he was trying to drop him. At some point, I was hoping he would kind of maybe tuck back in and just save it for one final burst. And then by the time we then went out to the finish line and saw him turn on Boylston, could see a good picture of the 3 of them running together, and then it was just 3 abreast. I was a little annoyed at the fact that they directed them to the right when they were coming in on the left.
Yeah.
To me, it looked like he had a good momentum, and he had a straight shot at the finish. They had told us in the pre-race that if it was going to be a photo finish, they'd just let him finish. They didn't hold up to that. They directed him. I don't know at the end of the day. I mean, he got outkicked by 4 seconds, but to me, it seemed like he had a really nice rhythm going, and then all of a sudden they were having to direct him to the right. And at that was the point where I first went, oh, no, because up to that point I thought, okay, I think he's ahead at least one of them. And then when they had to kind of redirect the tangent, then it was like, okay, it's not going to happen. But, when that happens, the fact that they beat him by 4 seconds over the last, 100, I think is when they finally pulled away. They probably were going to get a might have. So.
And getting second, getting 4 seconds out of second, does this kind of tell you, like, hey, this is a nice step forward, we might be able to win one of these one day?
Oh, yeah, it's a big step. I mean, I don't think I was not thinking that prior to this. I mean, the fact that he had 2 excellent half marathons in this build and had an awesome build, then, I told him before, I thought that this might be the deepest Boston field I'd have ever seen, because I think his and Clayton's time were 16th and 17th best times in the field. So if not at the upper end, at least depth-wise, I thought this was one of the tougher fields. But I felt like with his half marathon recent results, said if this is a half marathon, if we can turn this into a half marathon, I think you can win this thing or beat most of these guys. Because I think right now where you're at, running strong for a half marathon, I think I don't see more than a couple guys beating you. So I think that gave us a real reality check that yes, this is possible. It's very much possible. And then we were buoyed by the fact that the Let's Run didn't have much of a chance of him winning. So
hey, I think I called him for 4th on our podcast on Friday.
Okay. But by 4 seconds, you had him out of second?
No, I didn't have him running 2:05:08. I don't think I had him doing that.
No, it was a really good day, and it's just kind of what we talked about before. The guys that he was kicking with are 2:04 guys from Valencia, at least one of the guy who got second. And talking to that guy's agent after, he said, "Oh, Valencia is so much faster." And it's just a matter of, it's not a matter of when or if, it's a matter of when we get him in the right race, the right conditions, with the right critical mass, with the right build. He's there, and we're all proud of him, and proud of Clayton for the way that he hung on, after getting a cramp and just battling through. That was a nice performance and a nice, PR by a minute or so for him too. So really, for those two, man, great day, and happy for Rory, our token Canadian, who grew up in Utah, that he could finish as well as he did too. So really banner day for BYU.
Conner said after this he wants to run Grand Slam track. Are you on board with letting him? If he gets an invite, would you let him do it?
After this, he wanted to do it before this. If I would have opened it up to it, well, I think I told you is what Grand Slam track needs in the distance events is Conner Mantz, because as we saw today, he's not going to let the race dilly-dally around.
Yeah.
So, but it's all good. He loves running, and and he loves to be in front, and that's why we love him. He'd be a nice little addition to Grand Slam track. It's going to take a couple weeks to recover from this first, and then we'll set our sights on some other things.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks for the time, Ed. Great run.